Once again, I want to thank Bria for inviting me on here, and we decided to be twins today and wear our Black Presidents Matter t-shirts. It's a part of the Jas Talks Law movement because I do believe that I am going to recruit the next president of the United States. So if that is you out there, you definitely need to be in contact with me or Bria.
So our next myth that we have is if you do well in law school, it's probably because you did not have a personal life. So I think this kind of connects with law school being time consuming. You can let law school consume all of your time, or you can save a little bit of time for personal life. And I choose to save a little bit of time for my personal life. I don't want to totally neglect my friends and the people that I love, so I do save a little bit of time for that.
Mm-hmm. And you can balance both. I remember my first year of law school, one of my classmates, she really, really, really wanted to go to Howard's homecoming. Like, why on earth would she want to go there out of all schools? I'm just
kidding. It was great. I went my 1L year.
And she knew she wanted to do that. So, and that's fine. If you have that 1 or 2 events during the school year that you really, really want to do, you can make it happen. It just means you might have to put in a few extra hours to make up for those few days that you might miss from being at homecoming or what have you.
Yes, and if you know that you want to do something, set goals for yourself. Mm-hmm. So, for example, I am not going to go to Howard homecoming unless all my outlines are up to date until this point. And that's what I did, and that worked really well for me. And it allowed me to have a personal life as well as do things pertaining to law school.
Definitely.
You need to be in the top 20% of your class to get a job at a big law firm.
So I give that a because I would say a lot of times your grades can help you get an interview, but at the end of the day, your personality and who you know and who knows you is going to get you the job. So you could very well be bottom half of your class, but if you are really good about networking and getting to know people in the legal community, they might give you a shot regardless of what your GPA is. Because at the end of the day, practicing law is nothing like law school in the sense that you could be at the top of your class in law school and then be a horrible practicing attorney. So in some ways, yes, your GPA can definitely get you that big law firm jobs, but I know plenty of people that weren't at the top of their class and still landed that big law firm job.
I totally agree. The Socratic Method is designed to make students get the wrong answer. I think we should first explain what the Socratic Method is. So the Socratic Method is when a professor chooses a student, usually at random, and he just asks a bunch of questions about a case. So he'll say, what happened in this case? Why did it happen? Why did the court decide this way? And based on your answers, he will come up with new questions. And so I don't think it's necessarily designed for students to get the wrong answer. It's designed to get you to think how a judge would think in deciding the case. So what kind of things did the judge consider when they were deciding the case?
And it also helps you in a way that it gets you to think on your feet. A lot of people, you can sit down and type up something nice and make it sound all good, but if you're on the spot and you have to literally think as you're talking, and if you're doing that in your classrooms on a constant basis, you'll get better thinking on your feet.
Law school professors are intimidating.
I would give this a thumbs up. But there are a few professors that weren't as intimidating as others.
I think the professors can be intimidating, but you have to realize that they are really there to help you. So on first impression, they seem very intimidating. But if you go to their office hours and sit down and talk with them, you learn that they're actually really there to help you and they want to help.
Yeah.
Going off of that, I want to add one in here. Your law school classmates are judging you during the Socratic Method.
Yes. No.
I personally think no. I don't know.
It really, I think it depends on the classmate for one. But regardless of if they're judging you or not, it shouldn't matter to you because at the end of the day, they're not grading your final exams. You can say all the wrong answers all semester long. All that matters is how that professor looks at you and how you do on your final exams. I had some classmates that really took class kind of overly serious. And then I had some classmates who, we would work together, and it was, we're all here to learn, that type of approach.
And there's a lot of times when you're called on it during the Socratic Method, or a classmate is called on, and you're like, wow, I'm really glad that wasn't me, because I didn't know the answer to that question. And so just put yourself in the person who's being asked the question, put yourself in their shoes, and it really helps to create like a really supportive environment, because people have came up to me after a cold call and was like, wow, that was really good. Like, I wish I could have answered the question like that. And it's just good to know that your classmates are supportive, and I've experienced a lot of that. Yeah. Law school exams are hard.
No hesitation whatsoever. And one of the things that I explain to people that ask me, is law school really that hard? And I'm like, yes. And the reason I say that is because basically you're being tested on one exam. Everything you've done all semester, regardless of if you answered every question correctly, regardless if you came to every class, it really doesn't matter. It's all, your grade is based on one final exam, which is hard as ever. And it's combining, for the most part, it's combining everything you've learned over the past 4 or 5 months, and it's putting it into one test, and you don't know what's going to be on that test. And in most of your classes, you might not be able to use your outlines that you've prepared or notes that you've prepared. So you're literally remembering it all for this one test. It's like sink or swim.
Yes, and another thing is, a lot of people will tell you, like upperclassmen will like, oh, this question is definitely going to be on the test. So you spend so much time preparing for that, and then it's not on the test. But then this thing that you kind of neglected is covered a lot on the test. So that's something really important, is study everything. And that's what kind of makes it hard as well, is you're studying 5 months and you have to master and know it all, because you don't know what's going to be there on the day of the test. And these are about 3 or 4 hour long tests. So similar to the time you spent taking the LSAT is the time you're going to spend for one exam.
Yeah.
Law school requires a lot of writing.
Yes. What do you say?
It's actually a lot less than I expected.
Really?
I've only had, as a 1L, I've only taken one writing class, and we've had to write one paper each semester. So I feel like in the future there will be a lot more writing, but from my personal experience right now, I expected more writing.
Well, by the time you graduate law school, you're going to be like, okay, this is enough. And that kind of correlates back to my background. I wasn't really prepared for the amount of writing that I had to do in law school. Appellate briefs and memos and just a lot of different forms of writing that I had to do. And I wasn't really prepared for those things. But that's the life of a lawyer. You know, a lot of the news and media portray lawyers as people that are just in the courtroom arguing whatever they feel like arguing. But there's a lot of writing that happens before you even can step foot in that courthouse.
I would say that 1L year, it's a majority reading, and then maybe in the future
they turn it on up.
The writing increases. Law school gets easier after 1L year.
No. So as a 1L, that's what we were told. We were told, your 1L year is the hardest year, and then 2L year got there, and we were just like, I thought y'all said this was going to be easier. And then 3L year got there, and we were like, oh, 3L, 3L, and it still wasn't easy. And this is the thing. Your first year, you're solely involved in just reading and researching and looking at your case law and all of that. That all you're doing is the books. But your 2L year is when you're doing more than just a classroom. You are going to class, you're doing mock trial, a moot court, a law review. You might even have an internship. So you're juggling more. You're doing your academics, but you're also doing extracurricular activities. And then your third year, you have your classes, you have your internships. Because by the time you get to your third year, you're working for those judges, you're working at law firms, part-times, things like that. So you're in the classroom, you're at the courthouse, you're working at that law firm, and you're also doing many, many, many interviews and going to many, many networking events. So there isn't as much work in the classroom involved as 1L years, but it's supplemented in other ways.
I was really looking forward to this getting easier.
I got you, girl. I got you.
Good grades in law school will guarantee you a job after law school.
well, because of one word, I would have to say, and that is guarantee.
That's the word.
Nothing is guaranteed. I don't care how well you do. If it was guaranteed, it would look, the legal profession would just look so different. But nothing is guaranteed how well you do. But you have a way better chance of getting those opportunities with your good grades, with your networking skills, with putting yourself out there, and just being overall a good person. I think sometimes we focus on our grades so much, which is, don't get me wrong, which is very important and something that I am proud of. But you have to balance those good grades with other qualities, your good character, for example.
Business professional attire is required for class. Definitely a myth. That is such a myth.
Yeah. You know, on law school shows, they make it seem like you are showing up in suits every day for class. Yeah, right.
I really thought that going into law school. I was like, summer before, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go suit shopping. Like, I don't have anything to wear to school. And I get there and people are wearing sweats and sneakers. I was like, okay.
Flip-flops, socks.
Yes.
Chilling.
Hair does not have to be done every day. It's really a relaxed environment. Yes. And I think that's because everyone is not focused on their appearance. Yes. We're focused on grades. But, you know, sometimes you do want to look good, feel good. So you might decide to wear that suit or something. But it's not required.
Yeah, definitely. And this, ladies, is also a good time if you're thinking about going natural. It was a great time for me, like, because like she said, I was not focused on my appearance on most days. So a lot of times I would have my hair up in buns and like twists and braids and different things. It would just be however it went. But that meant I wasn't flat ironing my hair all the time, things like that. So if you're thinking about going natural, law school might be a good time for that.
And our last myth of the day is how to get away with murder is synonymous to life in law school. I don't even watch How to Get Away with Murder, y'all. I'm like not a typical law student.
Well, as a 1L, you probably shouldn't be watching, so that's actually very good. But as someone that is on the other side of this, I do watch How to Get Away with Murder. And I would say it is not synonymous to life in law school. Listen, as a first-year law student, you will not be working with any clients. You will not be working on any cases. You will not be in anyone's real courtroom. It's just not going to happen. You're learning theory. You're learning how the law got from 1908 to 2017. That's what you're learning. You're not going to be working with any real living clients at that point in your career. And I also wonder about those students on How to Get Away with Murder. You know, their life is spent juggling all these cases and clients and defending themselves, defending Annalise and all these things. And it's like, when do these students study? And there's like 1 or 2 scenes of them actually preparing for final exams. And I think there was a part in one of the shows where it showed that their GPAs were like 2.5. And I'm like, well, that makes sense because you don't have time for the life that they're portraying is not the life you'll be living in law school.
Well, I want to thank everyone for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you all learned something. Everything you see and hear is not the truth. Always do your own research and find out what's best for you. You can subscribe to my channel, Live Laugh Law. It's on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram at You Love Bria. I'll write it in the caption or something so you guys can get that.
And I also want to thank you guys for joining. I want to thank Bria for asking me to join her for one of her YouTube videos. Once again, I'm attorney Jasmin Robinson, founder of Jas Talks Law. If you are interested in law school and you want to talk more about that, feel free to contact me on one of my social media sites at Jas Talks Law. I am a law school coach, so I can provide different services to you, review your personal statement, guide you through the timeline of getting that application into various law schools. So feel free to contact me whenever you're ready.
Thank you guys.
Have a good one.